Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today's video is going to be a forecast for next week. We're going to look into EURUSD, GBPUSD, and Gold USD. Alright, so if this is your first time visiting the channel, please go ahead and consider subscribing. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment section and make sure you give this video a like. Thank you very much. Alright, so today we're looking into these three pairs, okay? Now, right in front of us, we have GBPUSD. As usual, we're going to go to the higher time frame like the weekly. And the reason why is because we want to get the higher time frame picture, and then we're going to scale down to the lower time frame and decide what we think might happen next week, since trading is all about probability and possibility. All right, so here on the higher time frame, the weekly, we can see that this is the last low highs led to the lower lows and creating a break of last low here on the weekly time frame. So this is our break of a structure. Mark it real quick. All right, so once we secured and understood that the price is creating lower highs, lower lows on the higher time frame, now what we need to do is we need to zoom and we need to basically find an order flow that's not mitigated yet. And what I mean by that is this is how it's going to look like. Okay, let's say price is here, creating a break of a structure. Now this becomes our order flow because this is our last lower high before the drop. So now price has to go back, retest this area of order flow, and order flow is an entire zone, but you need to refine it in order to find a valid point of interest slash supply or demand and order blocks. Okay, so price comes back all the way down here, and then another break of a structure. Now price has to go back and mitigate this last pullback again and then continue. So this is what order flow means. Okay, we just have to flow with the order or the direction of the trend. Okay, that's where the order flow term came from. All right, so now that we have a break of a structure on the weekly time frame, what we need to do is we need to analyze this entire move and decide and see where this trend will end to continue to the downside. Okay, we'll reverse from around these areas. Okay, so here we have an order flow. This one is already mitigated by this. This one is already mitigated by this one right here, and then we have another break of a structure, and now we have our last order flow, which is right there before this drop. Okay, which is not mitigated yet, and this is why we can see price has reacted around this zone. Okay, all right, now what we need to do is we're going to go to the daily time frame, and the reason why we go on a daily time frame is because we want to find out what's happening after tap on this area of order flow. What we can also do is we can also refine this zone. We can also refine this zone. If you look at it, there's an area of shadow that needs to be fully mitigated, and this becomes our point of interest. And why? Because this candle took out the high of this beautiful big bullish candle, causing a drop. Okay, so this is what we think a supply zone is. All right, so now that we identified the higher time frame perspective, now we're checking on the daily time frame, because now we want to analyze this move back to the supply zone. So here we have a high creating a low. Okay, and now we have another high creating a low, and then now we have another high. Okay, so this one here, we can use this as an inducement. That's why price did not respect this zone and just continue to the downside. So this area, we're going to use it as an inducement, since this is our first pullback that was taken out. So we're going to go ahead and mark this as an inducement. Usually what inducement is, let's say price is doing this, broke a structure. Once we have this break of a structure, price creates our first pullback, and then price goes up to an area of supply zone before it continues to the downside. So this one becomes our inducement, and that's what inducement looks like. So here we can see that this is our first low high, our first high low that was taken out. So therefore we were expecting price to reverse around this zone. It just reacted a little bit and then continued to the downside. So what we have here now is we have a change of character, price taking out a valid higher low that led to higher high before the reversal. Okay, so now we have a change of character. Once we get this change of character, now again, remember, we have to look for a valid order flow that needs to be mitigated. Okay, so here we can see price already breaking this structure. Price came back again to mitigate, continued to the downside. Now we have another move that was already mitigated and then creating a lower low. But we need to realize that there's an area that we need to watch out for. Okay, just like it happened on the weekly time frame, we also have another area that's very, very important. Okay, so we can see that this candle here, this shadow, took out this area of liquidity. Okay, so once it took out, now we can see that this entire shadow needs to be mitigated, and that this is how we refine our area of supply zone, and we can see that price already reacting to this around this area. Okay, but remember, we're still looking for a seller's position. All right, if you're a day trader, you can rely on the 4 hours, 1 hour, and the 15-minute time frame, but it's always good to look into the higher time frame so that you can get the bigger picture of what you think is going on or might happen. All right, so we can see that price created a change of character right here. Price took out this area of inducement. Okay, so we have a high led to lower lows, took out this inducement, so this is going to be a valid low right here. All right, and then this was a mini inducement, but turned into a change of character in the meantime, because remember, an inducement can turn into a change of character or a reversal if it taps on a higher time frame demand zone, which is right here. That we can see that clearly price reversed from this area, so therefore this inducement turned into a change of character. All right, so now we have an order flow that was already mitigated right here. So now we're going to go ahead and refine this, and this is the last pullback before the break, before this move here that caused this break of structures here. We can see that price already mitigated this zone. Again, we have another area that price already mitigated, but remember, there's a hidden pullback right here that price we think might come back to. And let me show you why I call this a hidden pullback. Why? Because you can see candlestick trading above this candle high right here. So this is this, and then a pullback, and then continuation to the downside. So this is going to be our last pullback before the break of this structure here. All right, so price will eventually come back to this zone and react around this area pretty much later on. Okay, so now what's going on around this area? We can see that price creating a higher highs, higher lows, and then higher highs. So probably this will be used as an inducement or liquidity, or might turn into a change of character since we are tapping on a higher time frame supply zone. We'll find out. So what we need is, we need price to come here, create some type of inducement, react to this area here, go back up, tap on the higher time frame demand zone again, and then continue, come over here, and then do the same thing, and then continue to the downside for a sale position. So now what we're expecting is, we're expecting for the price to continue to the downside, okay, until right here, create a pullback, which is going to be an inducement. Price goes up, tab on a higher time frame demand zone, supply zone, and then continue to the downside and do the same thing that it did over and over and over again. All right, so this is our take on what we think is going on right here. But now we're going to go all the way down to the 1 hour time frame. All right, remember we have this zone. Let's go all the way down to the 1 hour time frame. Zoom. Okay. The 1 hour time frame, we can see that price consolidated around this area, continuously creating a down move right away. But this is our valid lower highs, but we need a higher high in order to confirm. We need a inducement taken out in order to confirm this as a higher high. All right. So now what we're expecting is on this time frame, we need a price to come back right here, like I said. Okay. And then go back up, take this as inducement, and then go down all the way, create an inducement, and then take out, go back all the way, mitigate this order flow, and then continue to the downside, or maybe go up from here. So now what we're expecting is, we're expecting for the price to continue to the downside until right here, okay? Until right there, before it creates a reversal, taking out this inducement right here. So this is my opinion on GBPUSD. Now we're gonna go turn into EURUSD real quick. All right, so this is EURUSD. Let's go to the higher time frame, the weekly again. Zoom in. We can see that this is our last low that was taken out. Price created a break of a structure. Lower highs, lower lows, very important. Now what we need to do is we need to analyze this entire moves right here to find out where we think the price is going to mitigate. We can see that this entire area is already mitigated by these moves. So now this is what we have that we need to look into to find an area where we think price is going to reverse from. Okay. Remember, we need that order flow once we identify a break of a structure. So this area is already mitigated by this one already mitigated by this one, and then this one not fully mitigated. Pull back, downside, price just tapped on a little bit, but creating that imbalance. Maybe it reversed from this balance, but this area is an area that we're going to consider later on in the future. All right. And then we can see price creating a high and then low, mitigating, and then we have another area where price already mitigated right there. All right. But now we need to refine this zone. Okay. We can see prices started going up again, tapping on the area of where we think the order flow is, and then it's creating a drop. All right, now let's go to the daily time frame. Go to the daily time frame. Price creating highs, lows, and then highs, and then taking out this as a change of character. Okay, a change of character. Now what we need is, but remember, because this area was already used as an induced, this is our inducement here. This is why price did not react around this area very much. But this area we see a little bit of reaction, but then price continues to the downside. Okay, so creating a lower lows, creating a lower low. So this is a valid change of character after price tapped on a higher time frame order flow. But now we can go ahead and refine this order flow to an extent. We can see that this is an area that is very important. There's an imbalance going on right there. That's why price reversed from this area, and that's how we refined it. If we zoom, we can see that there is entire imbalance from here to all here. A little bit of imbalance going on. Then we're gonna mark this entire zone. Okay. All right. Price tapped on that entire area, creating a break of a change of character, taking out this first pullback after all this drop. Price was basically mitigating the zones, creating a mitigation, another mitigation right here, another mitigation right here, and then price created another area of order flow, creating a low, and then this was used as an inducement because this is our first pullback that was taken out. Usually that's how they do it to manipulate the retail traders. So here we have an area that we think price might reverse, and the reason why I say this is because this candle here took out the high of this candle, so therefore we can rely on this area, and that's why we can see price already reacted and then created a valid change of character. Okay, the price can do two things. Price can continue to the downside from here, okay, back up again, and then continue all the way until it takes out this entire low and create a new low. And this is what I think might happen. So now let me go to the 1 hour time frame. All right, so the 1 hour time frame, we can see that the price is working with the order flow, clearly creating. Here we have it, the last high low led to higher high, price creating a change of character right here after it tapped on an area of order flow or point of interest. So this is our last change of character. Price continued dropping to the downside, taking out our first pullback, okay, and then reversing from this zone, okay. So now we can see that price went back up again all the way, but we have an areas where price might end up coming back to mitigate because these areas are areas of interest, okay. So price might just create something like I showed you on the daily time frame and then continue to the downside, or it can come over here, react, and then continue to the upside, okay. It can do those two things, but right now what we're expecting is we're expecting a drop to the downside until right here. All right, now let's look into gold USD. Okay, gold USD, we're going to start from the higher time frame, from the weekly time frame, and then we're going to drop to the lower time frame as usual. All right, so here we can see that this was our last break of structure. This is our last break of structure on the higher time frame. Our last break of structure on the weekly time frame, okay. If the price took out this area of inducement, we can see that price right after that reversed from this area of imbalance and then continue to the upside. But gold was struggling to break around this zone. It was basically tapping, but then now we see a liquidity grab. Okay, we can see a liquidity grab. All this stop loss that was sitting right here is cleared out. This has been going on for a long time, and they've been waiting this they've been building this bridge for a while, and now they broke through it, taking out all the money that was sitting right here. Everyone that was selling from here is now taken out if they did not clear their positions, because some people, remember, trade long positions and they sit and for years and years to come, and in order to capitalize the entire moves, right? But they were taken out and cleared out already. So now we can see that gold took out this first inducement, reversed from area of demand zone. Once it did not create a higher high yet. All right, it did not create a higher high yet. So here we have a mini move. So now let's analyze this mini moves right here on the daily time frame. As far as I'm concerned, we're looking for a buy position, but there's some things that we need to consider. We have this on, if we stay on the weekly time frame, we can see that this area needs to be taken out. We can see that this is the last down candle before this up move. So price might continue to the downside, break this structure, okay, and then come over here before it continues to the upside again. Okay, take out all this stuff, come right here, mitigate this zone, and then continue to the upside. All right, on the daily time frame, we can see that price created a liquidity grab, because this candle here, like I showed you on the weekly time frame, was a liquidity hunt. Okay. All right. Now, on this time frame, we can see that this order flow is already mitigated by this, but there's an order flow that needs to be mitigated, which is this entire move was already mitigated half, but we have an area of extreme order flow or order plug / demand zone that price has to come back to and before it continues to the upside. So this area we need to be taken out. So two things can happen over here. Okay, we can see price is playing around this zone. Price can do something like this, come back, mitigate around this area, and then continue to the upside, fill this entire gap, and then continue to the upside, to continue to the downside, create some type of inducement all the way right here, and then reverse to the upside. Okay, but now what we're expecting is we're expecting for the price to maybe go up a little bit, take out this zone, and then continue to the downside, reverse from this area, and then continue to the upside again before it fill out this entire shadow, since it took out this entire zone, and now continue to the downside until it taps on this higher time frame demand zone before it reverses to the upside completely. So this is my take on these three pairs for next week. Also, make sure that you look into the fundamentals, and all the links are going to be in the description down below. Also, if you want to upgrade your knowledge, get the ebook, and that ebook will give you a perspective of how we trade the smart money concept. It has all the information, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. So the link is going to be down below, and also follow me on Instagram. Thank you again, your brother Jamal. Peace.